intelligence operatives are always the ones who usually are the most crooks if they're not integral. You know, you have to be really an integral person, you know? But usually the intelligence field always brings you in that kind of direction where you have you don't have the integrity, because you can't do this job with integrity. So you have to be a Jesuit, which is being the biggest hypocrites of them all. They have control over the esoteric side, the magical side of the Vatican is in their hands. With people like Athanasius Kircher, they established this current within the Jesuits of translated ancient Egyptian texts of magic, alchemy, and so on.
So they really, so you said they're the ones that are in control of the esoteric part of the Vatican.
Yes,
the Jesuits.
They're stealing them.
So they're basically the magicians of the Vatican.
Yeah.
More or less, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Well, but you see, it goes hand in hand with being the intelligence, because intelligence goes with occult. We were talking at some point in my past interviews of this about the fact that psyop operations these days are conducted mainly by occultists, because the occultists are using demonology and demons to dominate over people and get them totally mind control and subject to these demons.
Now, most of you out there know who this individual is. And there's still a lot of you out there who know who this man is as well. But there's only a minority of you out there who may know who this man is. This man's name is Hans Kolvenbach. He's better known as the Black Pope, the Superior General of the Jesuit Order. For the last 25 years, Hans Kolvenbach has held the most powerful position known to humanity on the face of this globe as the Superior General of the Jesuit Order, an order of priests that boasts a membership of a little bit more than 21,000 dedicated members, making it the most auspicious, powerful, and certainly the most villainous organization connected to the Roman Catholic Church, the papacy, and Hans Kolvenbach has been their leader for the last 25 years. The name Jesuit means equivocation. Equivocation means deception. This means that Hans Kolvenbach has been the leader of a deceptive order of priests for the last 25 years. The same deceptive order of priests that were banned from over 80 countries because of wars they started. The same deceptive order of priests that started World War I and World War II. The same deceptive order of assassinating priests, of priestly assassins, that sunk the Titanic for the purpose of establishing the Federal Reserve. That's right, the Jesuits sunk the Titanic to establish the Federal Reserve. They were behind that. The same priestly order that has erected colleges and that has ravaged the libraries and torn up the bookshelves, that have pushed men into offices of state, and have successfully, by doing all these things, brainwashed our children, taken hold of the policymakers all throughout this world, and while doing all this successfully hid their blood-stained paper trail in the process. Well, at least most of it. For 25 years, Hans Kolvenbach has been the leader of this filthy, sickening to my stomach organization. But notice I say the last 25 years. This is because on January the 18th, the Jesuit order elected a new black pope. Say hello to the priest, Adolfo Nicholas. He's your new black pope, the devil's new #1 hitman. He's the new head of the food chain of all the secret societies, because the Jesuits are at the top of the food chain of all of the secret societies. Adolfo Nicholas is the new face of terror. At age 79, Hans Kolvenbach made an unprecedented decision to retire from the position of Superior General of the Jesuit order, the first black pope ever to do so in the history of their organization. And he said he did so because he's getting ready to turn 80. That's interesting to me because the white pope, Pope Benedict, is only 1 year his senior. I want to let you know something. Hans Kogenbach did not step down because he wants to go do some fishing on Lake Erie. It's because the papacy is reorganizing and putting all their chess pieces in place in preparation for the Holocaust that's going to take place here in the United States and then sweep across the globe. I've been telling you a Sunday law is coming and that the papacy is one day soon going to enforce Sunday worship on the masses, seeking to control your conscience. The Bible has told us in 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 7, but the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. Are you ready for Jesus to come? Get ready, get ready, get ready. Adolfo Nicholas is getting ready.
Elaborate a little bit more on the Black Pope and his position of authority. Do you know much about Adolfo Nicholas?
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about Adolfo Nicholas, seeing that he is the new Black Pope?
Okay, Adolfo Nicholas comes from Asia. As a jurisdiction, he was presiding in the province of Japan. I mean, the Japanese Empire,
right,
has been infiltrated by the Jesuits for a long time. You have to understand that these were some of the first people that were coming as representatives of Rome into those territories.
Now, according to history, Francis de Xavier was the very first Jesuit missionary to enter into the Orient, and he established his outpost in Japan in the year 1549 AD. But arguably the most notable history of Jesuit activity in the Orient during that time frame took place in the year 1625 AD with some Jesuit missionaries, and alongside some Chinese officials unearthed a very important artifact in the city of Songchao or Songchai, China. My Chinese isn't that good. But this artifact is known as the Chang'an or the Chayan Monument. Now, this monument is of great importance because it documented that the Nestorian Christians and not the Jesuits were the very first missionaries to enter into China, and that there were many different Christian communities all throughout northern China that actually gained recognition from the Tang Emperor Taizong in the year 635 AD. Now, this monument, which was made in 781 AD, was made on limestone, and it had Chinese caricatures chiseled into it, and it also had 128 signatures of different Chinese Christians, which assumably were the representatives of these different Christian communities. This Christian church, as documented by that monument, was the largest religious body in China of that time. And this type of information was something the Jesuits didn't want coming to public knowledge. Neither did the Chinese officials. So they took the monument and effaced it. One, to cover up the lie that the Vatican actually came from apostolic descent. Two, to also cover up the fact that the Christian church that was within China during that time were Sabbath keepers, because the Nestorians were Sabbath keepers. And this went completely in opposition to Roman Catholic doctrine, because in the year 321 AD, by the hand of Constantine the Great, and further ratified in the year 336 in the Council of Laodicea, the solemnity of the Sabbath was transferred from the seventh day, which is Saturday, to Sunday. This is just a microcosm of what the Jesuits have universally done on the behalf of the Catholic Church to eradicate any information that will lead people to the truth.